Welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Moji Baba ki Jai. In the deep sleep state, how many problems did you have? Let's presume that everybody slept last night, at least for a bit, even if it was 5 minutes. In that sleep, all the problems were gone. In fact, everything was gone. Everything was gone. You might even feel that even I was gone. But you, the ultimate you, the absolute you, which is the unchanging, must have been there to even see that everything was gone. So although everything was gone, there was something which is not a thing, it still remains. That is your original self, the uncontaminated I, your reality. It is unchanging. And that is very important to see. That it is unchanging. That means that even when the waking state came, you, that unchanging self, remained the same. Otherwise, you would not call it the unchanging, you would call it the changing. That awareness that knew that everything is gone now is aware that something is here. And what is that something? What wakes up? Say, I wake up. But what does it mean? You were there to see the contrast between sleep and waking state. And yet something wakes up. This is what we call the dynamic aspect. So I, now playing as I am. The sense I am, the amness wakes up. So when it is just I, with no thing, no trouble. Now when you wake up, there is this sense I am. What trouble is there? That very instant, before the first thought has come, there is no trouble. Then what starts to happen? This play of appearances starts to dance. There is a room, there could be other people, the sensation of the body, the visual perception, emotion, sensation, all of this. Still no trouble actually. The troublemaker is just getting started. Troublemaker is just going to get started. This troublemaker, all of us know, is the mind. It starts to say, what does it actually do? It starts by making distinctions. Appearances are just appearances. Everything is appearance. But in the appearances, it starts to say, there is a you, there is a me, and there is outside of me. The appearance itself is not forcing any distinction like this. Is not creating a concept of me. Appearances are just appearing. This body is as much part of the appearance as every other appearance. The appearances are being perceived. And yet this distinction, this duality, this separation has not yet come about. So when Bhagavan says that the trouble is I am something, that you consider yourself to be individualized or limited as something, that is the source of trouble. What does that actually mean? That actually, if there was no distinction being made between anything at all, can you show me a problem without a distinction? There has to be a me and another. There has to be a me to suffer. And sometimes we leave these terms too broad, like suffering. We leave it too broadly and then it feels like a very generic, abstract concept. So if we keep the sensation of pain aside, what do we actually mean by suffering? Have you contemplated this? Look back at the times where you have suffered seemingly, and can you point out what is that? What happened? I can start you off. An appearance did something that you had some concepts about, and you felt like this should not be the way it should have been. Or, to put it simply, somebody did something you didn't like. So then there is resentment, there is a grievance. But for all of this to happen, this resentment to come, this grievance to come, there must have been a me and there must have been another. Isn't it? If we did not make that distinction, then how could you have a grievance? How could you resent? And notice that I'm not talking about a sensational quality called anger. That can arise on its own. But like everything that arises, it can also pass. But you cannot make resentment out of anger or a grievance out of anger unless you make a me or you make the pretense of a me. What are the other ways of suffering? Come on, we are experts at it, I'm sure. That's why we're here. Concern about health. But any minds could be. So guilt, specialness, resisting anything, resisting emotions. So if you look at all of these, what do you find at the center of them? Identity. An identity. But do you find this identity tangibly? In the sense, do you find somebody who's actually there? Did you find the me actually that is entitled to hold a grievance? Did you find the self-righteous one? Did you find the special one, the guilty one? You don't find. It's like if you were pretending to be King Arthur or something. Suppose this morning you woke up and said, it'll be a good idea to pretend to be King Arthur. And you believed a lot of things about the knights of the Round Table and Lancelot, Guinevere, and all of these stories. Yeah? And I'm the King of England. And somebody says, look, but are you really? Yeah. We admit that this capacity to pretend is there. All of us can pretend that we are that. It might seem unbelievable initially, but if you really practice, you can pick up the pretense of any character. So what is being revealed to you in Satsang is the pretense of that which you have believed to be your character. That which has a name, which is your name. That which has a body, form, which is supposedly your body. But this one is as much a pretense as if you were to pretend to be King Arthur right now. And those who are open to this discovery, then it is very simple to verify. It is not the verification of this which is tough. It is the fear of losing this identity, that what will I become if I lose this? The fear of dissolution of this identity, which can seem to be more resistive, stronger resistance. Like right now, if you check, you cannot find the one that wants anything at all. You cannot even find the one that wanted to come to Satsang, the one that wants freedom. You can look at the body. Did this one want to get freedom? This one didn't. So then who did? Huh?
Notion.
Just a notion. Just a notion. King Arthur, the blue cat, the sheep, all these examples, metaphors that we use are just to show you that that which you consider yourself to be or have considered yourself to be is not your truth. And you don't have to figure this out. You don't have to solve it like an equation. You will not come to the truth of your realities by solving a square plus b square. What is it?
A square plus B square plus 2AB.
Because those of us who are a little intellectually inclined, they might feel like if I can put something tangible and something intangible together, that will lead me to the supreme absolute Brahman or something like that. This is not it. It is much simpler than that. If you were not to go with any concept about yourself, you were not to label any experience for just a moment. What are you here and now? No answer is needed. Just a looking. Where is the one that has that name? When you say I, find the one that this I represents. Are you representing just one set of perceptions? Who is the I representing? Let me invite you to a truer representation. But all of you have to follow along like children. If you think too much, what this, why this, when this, how this, nothing will happen. So far, you've included just one set of perceptions, this body as I. Now become a little more inclusive. Every body that you see, include that in I. There's only one label that you're using for all things now, for all bodies now, is I. Now include all other objects that you perceive also in the same I. Every object, every body, everything that you perceive, include it in I. Now include also the space in which these objects are appearing. This space is also just perceived by you. So include this one also in I. That very existence now, that very existence I am, which includes this space and all the objects within it, include that in I. Within this I, don't make any distinctions. No interpretation, no judgment. Now, this is a very beautiful step. Notice that something is aware of all of this, including existence. This awareness is empty of all qualities. It is empty of all concepts of space and time. Include this one as I. And remain like this, motionless, allowing all things to come and go. While I come back in a couple of minutes, I have to attend to something important. As you drop all distinctions, the movement of appearances does not stop. There is a supreme intelligence which is beating your heart, making your breath function. It is the light which gives power to all of these phenomenal forces of gravity, light, sound. They continue. This life belongs to this supreme intelligence. This being is experiencing itself in all of these manifest appearances. So we allow the movement of this body and of all bodies. This life, trees swaying in the breeze, without interpretation or judgment. This is your notionless existence. Independent of any position that you could take, empty of doership and non-doership, empty of attachment or aversion. Here there is no me nor mine, no other, no past, no future. And all of this is naturally present in this moment. What is true is here. God is here. Pretending that God is just this body, just like the ocean pretending that it has filled itself in a coconut. You are that from which all things come. You are not dependent on anything. So Aaron asks, non-doership. Why is that also not true? I said earlier that doership and non-doership, we can safely forget about both concepts. Why? Because the one that we applied these concepts to, we said, I am the doer. We applied that to the body, that I individually or personally, this body mind organism is the doer. Okay? Then, we say, I am not the doer. Who is that applied to? The same body mind organism. It still retain the identity I. We come to this switch in position, but the I has remained the same, the pretend one. We went from I am the doer to I am not the doer. We take a more Advaita position. I am not the doer. Okay? And yet, it is full of dualities position. You are still considering yourself to be something separate, this body mind. Okay? So, are you the doer or not the doer? It is not applicable because you are not this limited one anyway. As you find the greater truth about yourself, which is that you are the self, of which even this consciousness, this dynamic aspect, is just an aspect. Then you might one day come to say, but I am the one doer, but that's at a different level. So better first to see that both doership and non-doership are not applicable because this person itself is mythical. Is it? So going back to that example we were using, you believed yourself to be King Arthur for long. Now, say you come to, as King Arthur, you come to Advaita Satsang. And you hear, but you are not the doer. Yes, I, King Arthur, am not the doer. Sword just moves. The greater force is moving it. You see, it is true, but you might still consider yourself to be this limited one. You see? So when King Arthur loses a battle, you will not like the greater power. You'll get into this victim mindset. Oh Lord, you are the one doer, but why you do this to me? As long as the me, the I, the limited one is still there, you might still believe some desire about yourself. You might still feel like a powerless victim at the hands of a greater force. So better first to clarify what you are. And if you clarify what you are, then you will see that both the doership and the non-doership of the pretend individual are both false because the individual itself is pretense. Ashtavakra said, you are that which is the source of all things. What is there for you to accept or renounce? And all of this, what I'm saying, is completely apparent to you as you are empty of any notion about yourself. What went away? When your notions go away, what of value has gone? All notions go away naturally in this moment. All is gone. What of true value have you lost? Your existence is here, you still exist. And as long as existence is here, the play of your life also continues. These words are being spoken from this mouth. There is no individual speaking them. There is no actual Ananta sitting here speaking these words. Just like the movements of the waves of one ocean, the play of this world is perceived. The speaking of these words is happening, just like the hearing of these words is happening. When we stay as awareness, everything is happening or nothing is happening. And there is also no doership, is no. When we stay as awareness, everything is happening or nothing is happening. And there also no doership is no. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. When you don't pick up a distinction and you remain as the self, then you see that one way to say it is that everything is happening, and another way to say it is that for the reality of you, that which is aware even of your existence, nothing has ever happened. So in either case, whether everything is just happening in the light of your existence, or you are that which is aware even of this existence, where nothing has ever happened, in either case, there is no space or room for the concept of individual doership. And the best news is that you don't even have to try and stay as awareness. You see, because this can have another connotation that I have to keep my attention empty and my attention doesn't have to go anywhere and I have to be awareness forcefully or something like that. In fact, you cannot leave awareness. It's like saying, I'm going to try and stay on earth. Could you leave earth if you want to? So when the sages have said remain as awareness or stay as awareness or abide in awareness, what they have actually meant is don't pick up a pretense about yourself. Don't believe something about yourself which is not true. You see? Because otherwise, to stay in awareness would sound like an instruction which is just like, just make sure you don't leave Earth today. Okay? You can't leave unless any one of you have a spaceship or something that I don't know about. So the instruction can seem absurd in that way, but I know that as a spiritual seeker, these kind of instructions used to cause a lot of frustration here. Just remain with the sense I am, just stay as awareness, these kind of things. For those for whom it is not natural to keep attention controlled in this way, and I feel that is most of us anyway, then this kind of instruction can feel like, no, my job was to keep attention only on awareness, but now I looked at that cup of coffee. You see? This can seem very oppressive. It doesn't sound like freedom at all. So attention is there. Attention can move about wherever it likes. It cannot leave yourself. It cannot leave awareness. That's why I say it's like a dog on a leash. It's like the arm. It might go gathering lots of things, but still connected to the self. So you don't have to oppressively follow any instruction that way, which is trying to forcefully control attention. As long as you're not picking up the pretense of the false, it is more than enough. Even if you pick up the pretense of the false, it is all gone now. You see, so there is no room to pick up guilt about, oh, I picked up the pretense of the false. That was so bad. Nothing is needed because nothing which is false has survived this moment. This is the best news. In fact, if this is all that you remember from Satsang today, it is enough. Nothing that is false has survived this moment. In this moment, you're completely newborn baby. You're a completely fresh, naked of all concepts, infant. Your being is shining as the greatest being, the one being in the light of this entire universe is appearing and disappearing. You are that being. And if you judge yourself, if you interpret, if you pick up any concept about it, if you make this personal, then this very being will pretend as if it is a limited person. But in spite of all the pretending, it has always been the Supreme Lord itself. If you want to meet the truth, if you want to meet the supremely enlightened being, if you want to meet Krishna, Jesus, first meet yourself without any judgment. Meet yourself so intimately that the concept of meeting is no longer valid. Then tell me whether you found God or not, whether you found Krishna or not. So let's look at the last question for today. I want freedom, freedom from attachment, from my mind. If I let my attention to have freedom, then what will help me reach closer to myself? You identified the problem correctly. You want freedom from the mind. So if I tell you, you have freedom from the mind now, in this moment, will you let go of what the mind is going to say about this? Is it? And if you just let go of what the mind has to say about this, then you are free. But you might say, but the mind is too powerful. What do I do? And for this, especially since you're new to the interaction like this, you might have this question. So, if this mind is too powerful, you tell me that I'm free right now. I see this. But in the next moment, I buy a notion, a thought about myself, which is from the mind. I know this is the trouble. So, what can I do about this? Now, in satsang like this, there are two main pieces of advice for the same problem. Depending on your temperament, you can pick either or both. So, when the thought comes and says, I'm not free yet, what does he mean you're free? You use that thought as fuel for your self inquiry. You say, the mind is saying, I am not free yet. Who is this I which is not free? Inquire into this question and rely only on your insight. Find the one that witnesses this thought. Find the one that is aware of even this perception. You will see that there is nobody here who is not free. And in that recognition, this thought, when it comes next time, will have less power. But if it still seems sticky, you can inquire into it till this thought becomes laughable. Inquire into the nature of this I, who is free or not free, till the thought which has been able to push our buttons now becomes laughable. This is one way, which is the way of self-inquiry. The second is that if you're of a more devotional temperament, then when the thought comes, but he's saying I'm free, actually I'm not free yet. But this is also my master's problem or God's problem. Let him deal with it. What do I have to do with it? This is the letting go of surrender. Nothing is for you to manage. All things let the Sadguru run. So for those who are of a devotional temperament, just one statement like Guru Kripa Kevalam, all is just the grace of the Master, is enough. Then no notion can stick to you. The I am remains I am without attaching to the something. I am something which the mind is offering. Then whatever instruction you choose to follow, you will come to this point where everything from the mind, or most things from the mind, will be allowed to just come and go. As your belief is divested from these thoughts, you will find that they are not so compelling to your attention either. So, if either of these two, self-inquiry or surrender, appeal to you, you can do those. Otherwise, you go into the realm of spiritual practice, sadhana, which is more attention-based. Keep your attention on a mantra, keep your attention on the breath, or keep your attention with the activities of the body. You see, various spiritual practices are there, which is about trying to control attention. In this life, I have not met too many who have succeeded in controlling their attention, because attention is like a naughty monkey. The more you say, let me not bring my attention to a banana, you see, the more banana will show up. But if I say, don't believe you're a banana, it is much simpler. So based on your temperament, based on what gives you the most peace, you walk on that path. Till you see that actually I never left the destination, I have always been this. So follow that which gives you the most peace, because in peace, the truth is apparent. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.